Good afternoon and welcome to Sydney Harbour for Heat 2 of the 6th Spring Championship for the 18 footers for season 2024. And as you can see, what a change from last week's conditions. Today's heat is proudly sponsored by the Kitchen Maker. I'm Jimmy Bury, and hello to all our loyal friends watching from Australia and around the world for what promises to be another spectacular day on Sydney Harbour. Joining me today in commentary is Evie Hazeldine and Andrew Dolly DeVola. Before we get to Evie, Andrew, can you tell us a bit about the conditions today?
Yeah, good afternoon everybody. As Jimmy says, beautiful day on Sydney Harbour today, sun shining, breeze around in the north-northeast, so high out in the Tasman. Forecast was for northeast around 12 knots, but at the moment we're probably looking more in the probably 8 knot range. Incoming tide will make it seem a little bit softer for the boats as well when they're going upwind. And we're running a 3-buoy race today, and we'll run through that course for you.
Yeah, we'll run through the course in a minute, Dole.
Okay.
Joining me, as I said today, very, very special guest in Evie joining us. Warm welcome to you, Evie.
Thanks for having me on, Jimmy.
Love having you on. It's great to have you back. And back from the Olympics, you still doing a little bit of sailing, or?
Yeah, that's right. Still sailing on the FX, keeping on the water.
Yep. And any plans moving forward with that?
Yeah, well, we're going to head up to the lake this week for a camp and sail Sydney domestic season and hopefully 2028.
Look out, world. So yeah, as Dole mentioned, we're going to have the 3 boys today. We'll have a look at that course now, I guess, Dole. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, so sailing a nor'east course. They start down here at Clark Island, work their way up to the vicinity of the Beachel Buoy where the 3 boys will be. Set spinnakers down around Shark Island, down to Clark Island, back up to the Beachel Buoy, straight down to Clark Island, back up to the Beachel Buoy area, and then round down around Shark Island to the finish just here off Double Bay.
Yeah, so we've got, we can see the handicaps on screen there. So for those who aren't familiar with the 3-buoy course, there's 3 windward marks. Faster boats go to the red and the white. So they're the furthest away. Red's the furthest away, then white, then blue. And you can see there's some boats have a mix of those marks, but the limit, what we call the limit boat or the highest handicap boat, is our last week's winner, the Rag and Famish. He'll be going to the furthest red marks 3 times. So it basically equates to being a handicap sort of race. And speaking to Hugh Lester, our starter, he's saying with our new mark set bot, remote marks, they can tweak those top marks a bit if it looks like the handicappers have got a little bit out. They can stretch or shorten the course a little bit, and hopefully we'll see a nice bunch of boats coming to the finish at the end altogether, is the plan.
That's how it's meant to work.
Meant to, but not always, Jimmy. But I think in these conditions we should see some pretty close racing today. Should be a fairly easy day for the crews, and for those who watched last week, you know, early on in the season it's pretty tough for these crews to establish their teamwork and sort out their roles, and today should be a much easier day for them to establish that. We do have a few fill-in crews today of note. We've got Josh McKnight stepping on to the Rag and Famish, replacing Max Paul, and we have Sean Connor stepping on to the Finport today with Keegan York. So Sean being one of your Olympic team members over in Marseille, Evie?
That's right.
So how did your first Olympics, obviously? Tell us a little bit about how you found being part of the Australian team and the whole experience for you. I suppose it's a lot to sum up, but...
Yeah, I mean, amazing experience. Yeah, just being around the whole team was certainly very memorable, but the sailing itself, definitely the most exciting part, I think. Sailing against the top 20 boats in the world, all on one start line for 4 days of qualifying and 1 day of the medal race. You don't get that opportunity very often, once every 4 years. And conditions super tricky. We had 2 days of super light wind and then 2 days of a little bit more, but quite variable. And just piecing that all together is definitely an experience.
Yeah. And the moving forward, we were talking before, you're not too sure what holds in the future, but you're definitely sailing again. You're just not too sure who just yet.
That's right. Keeping myself on the water just in case, and all eyes on 2028 for sure.
Yeah. And we've got quite a number of the 18-footer sailors have dabbled in the 49er class over the years. So and obviously, being designed by Julian Bethwaite, and I worked on that project with him. You know, the 49er evolved from the 18-footers. You've been for a couple of 18-footer sails. Have you got any ambitions to maybe jump back on at some stage?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. It's certainly a very exciting boat to sail, and being super iconic on Sydney Harbour, would like to definitely get back on the boat at some point. Lots of similarities, like you say, between the 49er and the 18-foot skiff, and really admire the teams to be able to do the teamwork between three of them, because I know how hard it is to do, that teamwork and the synchronisation just between two people. So it's, I was saying to you before, Dolly, that a day like today, we're sort of in between that, just stretching to maybe a little bit overpowered in the gust. It requires quite a lot of communication and proactivity from the team to be able to prepare the boat for what's coming next.
Yeah, and a bit tricky today with this northerly angle. I know Jimmy understands, having sailed this course and covered this course a lot. When we've got the breeze a little bit more on the northern side of northeast, judging the jibe into Shark Island's always a tricky one, that jibe angle, isn't it, Jimmy?
It's very difficult because if you jibe too soon, the lee under steel point, just the lee from the breeze just can kill you. But there's literally that fine line, like you've got to just be close enough to steel point to make any chance of getting that angle right. If you take it too deep, it's not where you want to be.
Yeah, and more often than not, when you have judged it a bit tight, you'll get a nice puff out of the left-hand side.
It's a given.
Yeah,
it's a given, Dole. You know that.
Been there, done that. Yeah.
And while we're there, why don't we take a look at last week's results and give you an idea of how the Spring Championship is shaping up. There they are. So, very convincing win last week by Harry and the team on the Rag and Famish Hotel. Lazarus Capital second, by Kobe third, Burrowing Young Henry's fourth, Balmain then sixth, then the Kitchen Maker and Yibita. That was all that finished.
Yeah, and quite a bit of boat damage and rig down, and so it would have been a busy week for the crews this week, getting their boats back in order so that they could race today. But fortunately, the majority of last week, everyone had the small rig in, and this week we've got the big rig in. But they have to be prepared for all scenarios. So they would have had to have got those boats repaired. Would have been a very, very busy week for the teams and their shore crews and associated businesses that look after the boats. We've just had
Marine Outlet
having a little dip. I did note there was a couple of little rigs in the park. I think Birkenhead, it looked like Shore and Partners, and who was the third one you thought you spotted?
18-footers, I thought.
18-footers, okay.
18-footers bar and restaurant.
And it could be a long day for those crews because it's really not little rig weather out here at the moment. But we'll see. Maybe they know something that I don't, but I'm pretty sure this breeze isn't going to come in. Would you agree?
No, it's certainly not the usual sea breeze that we do have on Sydney Harbour. It's gradient breeze and sort of in and out a little bit, but no more than 12 knots, as you say, Dolly.
Yeah, and the down range looks very downrange. So I suspect we might see those boats left in the wake of the big rigs, but that was a big call from those crews. But maybe they just don't quite have the confidence at this point, starting end of the season. We're just looking at John Winning's Yandu on screen there. Now they're usually pretty good in these conditions, so we'll see how Woody and the team go today. But that boat with that team in these conditions in the past, we've seen them go quite well. So sorry, I don't want to put the commentator's curse on you, boys. There's a kitchen maker on screen there now. They're our race sponsor for the day, and I did spot Darren McCavanagh heading out on the wharf, probably jumping on the ferry, I think, today to watch the race that he sponsored. And Darren and the kitchen maker have been one of the longest standing sponsors in the 18-footers in the modern, what we call the modern era, or the era of this boat design, the one design boat. So thanks for your support, Darren. Hopefully your team can represent you well today. They did manage to get around the track last week, but they certainly had a very long afternoon. But well done to them for actually finally getting to the finish and filling one of those valued spots in the first heat of the club championship last week.
That's Balmain there on screen. Hoping for bigger things from them this week.
Yeah, Henry Larkins and the young team been showing a lot of promise in the last few seasons with Miles Davey and Flynn Toomey. Been particularly impressed with these boys, the way they've been getting off the start line in the last season and putting themselves in good shape early in the race. And they've been showing good speed, good composure, been making good decisions. So expecting them to have some good results this year again.
And earlier today, you two caught up with Harry Price on from the last week's winner from the Rag and Famish Hotel. So have a quick look at that video.
We're here with Harry Price from the Rag and Famish Peroni team, who had a great week last week in the first round of the club championship, and great result to open the season with. How was it out there last week, Harry?
Yeah, last week was pretty full on, quite windy, and yeah, I mean, exactly what skiff racing is all about. 25 to 30 knots, southerly, booming down towards Obelisk with the kites, trying to get round George's Head, which we managed to do twice last week, which was pretty good, and yeah, pretty full on, to be honest. Yeah.
And a little bit of different conditions this week for the three-boy challenge. What do you think yourself and the team are going to be looking to do today in today's race?
Yeah, different day today. We got like a moderate nor'east something or other, and we've got the big rigs in. Looks like everyone, bar maybe two boats, have got the big rigs today. So yeah, we got a bit on our plate. You know, we're scratch boat, got to do the long course 3 times to that red furthest mark, and we've got a bit of time to catch up today. But you know, we'll just go out and have a bit of fun. Hopefully it just gets a little breezier, so it starts to become a bit more challenging for the teams in front of us, and we can try and sort of claw back a few minutes here and there and see how we go at the end of the day.
And Harry, you've had a few different crews in and out over the past, but what's shaping up for this season? I see you've got Josh back on today with Tom. What are we doing with the team moving forward this summer?
Yeah, it's funny that this year was it was a late sort of entry into it. We weren't sort of sure what was the plan, and so decided to do it again, and obviously with the support of Pete at the Rag and Famish, I'm really happy with that. and he's really happy that we're going ahead again. And but yeah, last week we had our season team. That's me, Max, and Finn. Unfortunately, due to their performance last week, we got rid of them for this week. No, just kidding. But this week they're just away doing a few other things that they did warn me about prior to signing up. But yeah, got Josh back today, which is awesome. And Tom Anderson's filling in for Finn on the bow. And yeah, we're all looking forward to getting out there, and it should be good.
Yeah, well, the team last week looked really good, and I commented that you looked confident out there last week, so it was sort of a no fear send sort of day, which I expected of you guys. Much different day today, obviously, and with the 3-boy challenge. So good luck today, and we'll be interested to see how you shape up in the with the handicapper not being too kind to you.
Yeah, nice. We might not get much airtime today, but we'll wait and see how we go. Hey.
Thanks, Harry. Good luck.
Back live with just over 2 minutes to go. Dole, what's your thoughts?
At the moment, so we've got the mark set bot, the movable mark for the pin. It looks to me that Hughes set a pretty even line, which is what I'd expect from him. So I can't see too much favour in the line, so that'd indicate to me that they'll just be looking for a lane and surrounding yourself with someone who's not going to roll over the top of you. So we can see the boats just moving back away from the line now. We've got about a minute and a half to go to a start, so they're just sort of in their pre-start now, looking at where they do want to line up and who they want to line up next to. So we'll see our normal sort of drag race over towards Bradley's Head, and it's usually whoever can get in the first tack there and stay in some pressure and get across the fleet sort of will hold that command. So starting will be everything today, wouldn't you agree, Evie?
Yeah, I think agreeing with you there, Dole, that Bradley's Head is certainly going to be a big player off the line. Not being able to tack and get away from the lee of the island just under a minute to go will definitely be a bit dangerous. Certainly liking Rag and Famish in their positioning at the moment to windward of the fleet, and they're a good enough gap to be able to accelerate. And same thing with Noakes there as well, just avoiding that congestion to the leeward end of the pack.
Yeah, we've got quite a pack forming down towards the leeward end of the line that's got Finport, Balmain, Sixt, Vycobi, Shaw and Partners, Royal Oak and Lazarus. Lazarus have sort of dropped out the back of that pack a little bit, which is dangerous for them. They're going to be in some gas. We've got Smeg moving in sort of midline at the top, and at the top, as you say, Evie, we've got Harry Price in the Rag and Famish looking very good on time and distance and position.
And off we go here, 3 seconds to the start. Smeg looking like the winner of that start. Good acceleration and time to the line there. Also that windward lane, so I'm not going to get in the lee of Bradley's Head, and potentially going to be able to capitalise on the lift as they tack on to port.
Yeah, a little bit of wriggle room to leeward of them too. So Rag and Famish, you can see in the foreground of shot there. They've got boats to leeward, so they can't really put the bow down too much and sail for pace. Smeg has the ability to do that, but they're trying to sail a little bit of a high line and hold up Yandu and Rag and Famish. The Vycobi boys looking in a very good position. Middle of the line, stepped out a little. Their timing was very good on the line. They hit the line bang on, so well done to Kirk and the team on Vycobi after a good week last week. Had a chat to them in the park, and they're not talking themselves up, but I know that the ability of those young guys, they can do it on any given day, and we'll see how they go today. I'm sure they'll be in the mix.
Yeah, as you say, Dolly, it looks like they're going to be able to just press a little bit better into that next line of pressure that we see coming down. They'll also have a ferry to contend to as that comes around Bradley's Head as well.
could very much well be the foreign hand's father driving that ferry, so
It could be Phil Barnett.
We'll know if it takes evasive action that it's in.
You think we might see it take out every boat in the fleet?
I don't think that'll happen, mate.
bar
The
the
ferries have
Waikobi.
been very good to the 18s over the last couple of years. Have been fabulous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's been a good relationship. And a lot of that comes from the sailors doing the right thing too. So if the sailors don't push the limits with the ferries won't push the limits with the sailors. So
is that what happened with the McKees back in the day, Doc?
yeah, well, that's a nice little piece of 18-footer history there, Jimmy, where the ferry disappeared up the harbour with a spinnaker draped over its bow for the most publicity the Country Comfort ever got.
And you can see on screen at the moment, Waikobi are definitely sailing in best pressure on the race course. They'll have a good little lift coming off of Bradley's Head, but looks like they'll be close crossing with Smeg.
Yeah, so that's Waikobi we had on screen there. We've just had Finport tack onto port there now. He's seen the ferry coming. I think Keegan wants to get a little bit of distance between him and the ferry. As yet, Waikobi hasn't tacked, and they're looking on a. You might be right. It could be Captain Cub, but now the Waikobi is tacked over.
I think they also needed to get far enough to push into this pressure line just here as well. Looks like some of the boats that tacked early on didn't quite get all of it.
Yeah, further you get out into the middle too, the more tide they'll be pushing. I think once we get around Bradley's, we'll see boats just sniffing shifts likely up the left-hand side of the harbour, western side of the harbour. The Waikobi just having to take a duck on the Smeg. So for my money, that probably puts Smeg narrowly in the lead at the moment, but I suspect when we come back at the next juncture, we might see Waikobi cross in front with the starboard advantage. Yandu on approach into Bradley's Head. They're going to, now the ferry's gone, they're going to just push as far in here as they can.
Yeah, I think they've got a little bit of an advantage here with that clearer lane. Smeg looking like they're trying to hold high to get a tack in with Rag and Famish just on their line. So now they've got an ability to tack, and do struggling with a little bit of a lee, but hopefully have that nice lift off the shore.
Yeah, we just saw with Yandu there, but what can happen when you do push too far in Bradley's Head and you tack and you down pressure and dip a wing. Woody maybe a little bit slower through the boat these days with his new hip. But awesome to see him back out on the harbour again racing the 18-footer.
So Smeg's just tacked here, and you're right, Jolly, they'll come to a close cross with Waikobi, but almost looking like that they have done quite well pushing further into Bradley's.
A little bit of left-hand shift there by the looks of it.
Certainly.
So they've timed that well. They've got some breeze out of the left-hand side. High on port tack. Finport just taking their stern there. They're going to sniff right in on Bradley's as well. Try and escape the tide and find a little bit of that left-hand shift as well. They're attacking now. Let's see how they shape up for an early tack of the season.
Not a bad manoeuvre there from those boys, including Sean. So they'll come to actually across with Waikobi. So unfortunately, Waikobi losing out a little bit in the middle of the harbour, whether that's both from shift and tide, as you say. But see if any more comes from this left. They might start crossing over and getting the next sort of shift from the land on the right.
Yeah, so Finport couldn't cross Waikobi there. Had to take a dip. And we've got Smeg, Finport, Rag and Famish and Yandu pushing out into the middle of the harbour, top of your screen there. Smeg in the foreground of your screen. And we've just seen Vycobi now tack back onto port. There they are now, so they're going to go back and just have a loose cover over those boats and make sure they don't get a shift that the Vycobi misses out on. So at the moment, Smeg's sailing a very high slow mode, which I don't think is going to do them too many favours. They need to. They're trying to put the squeeze on Finport, but at the moment it's not being too successful. They're just...
Looks like Yandu's had to tack out just from suffering above Rag and Famish's line, and be interesting to see how Rag does come back and Yandu does come back from that right hand side. It doesn't look like it's as strong as the left over here, Dolly. A bit more pressure and maybe a little bit of shift as well.
Yeah, we're getting this left-hand northerly shift on the western side, so it's really a matter of their timing coming over here and finding the header before they tack back. So we've seen a little gain from the Finport, Keegan York, just got a little bit of a gain on the Vycobi, and we've also seen Yandu just went off screen there. They've managed to cross in front of Vycobi as well, so the other boat that'll come into the mix will be the Rag and Famish. They're taking the option of fewer manoeuvres, but they're now on starboard tack, coming back across.
Yeah, it still doesn't look quite as strong on that right hand side, and I think it's definitely more pressure, like you say, with a little bit of northerly shift and increase as well out on this left hand side. So here on screen we've got Balmain and Finport, and Finport looking like they're sailing quite a good BMG today, able to press into the pressure and then drive it up once they're fast. You know, we've seen Smeg sail a little bit of a higher, slower mode just to win some positioning situations, but I think Finport's ability to sail their best VMG has definitely paid off.
Yeah, Smeg were trying to put the heat on Finport before with that high mode and did manage to force Finport to tack away, so it worked from that point of view, but it looks like they're coming over to the better pressure that we've got in the harbour on the western side at the moment. But yeah, as you can see there now, Rag and Famish heading to the western side as well, and they'll be coming into the mix well and truly. I think when we see the boats come back together, they'll definitely be in the mix. Nice overhead shot there of the Rag and Famish. So they're surprisingly looking quite powered up now. We've seen a little pulse in the breeze. It's maybe increased by a couple of knots since we've come a little further up the harbour, which is good to see. Got Yandu are going to make it the cross across Finport. So that's again to the Yandu, and the next juncture we'll see coming out of the right-hand side of your screen will be the Rag and Famish, who will also cross Finport. So the big gain from that exchange is probably from the Rag, but surprisingly, the Smeg doing a great job of hanging in there as well.
Yeah, it looks like that, you know, maybe a little bit incorrect in the fact that the right wasn't too bad, less manoeuvres, and possibly just getting a little bit of right maybe as well.
Yeah. And then getting back to this side, this western side, looking for the northerly shift is what they're doing at the moment, plus the advantage of staying out of the tide. When they're out in the middle there and the tide's pushing them down the harbour away from the wind, it has the effect that the boat doesn't have as much pressure, getting taken away from the breeze.
Rag.
So the Rag crosses Vycobi.
Really good lane in here, just getting a little bit of extra acceleration from this piece of land, and good manoeuvre from the boys as well.
Now Smeg will cross those boats, so Smeg still leads. So from a good start, they've consolidated on that, and they're hanging in there nicely.
And Smeg, they're on 6-minute handicap, so they go to the blue mark first, so that's a huge advantage for them to be up with these guys at the moment.
at this early stage, yeah, they'll bear away at the top and should be in very good shape. Rag and Famish looking good. They're just starting, the main just starting to go inside out there, which is surprising. It's this breeze strength, so they might want to do a little bit of rig adjusting. One takeaway from our interview with Harry before is, and he always is very big on confidence. So I think the key to their win last week was definitely that confidence and their trust in each other to get the boat around the course.
Yeah, as you say, it looks like they're a little bit more powered up. So in the gusts, bit overpowered, and I think Smeg's almost with the opposite setup, quite flat and fast in the pressure, but maybe a bit underpowered in the lulls.
Yeah. Remembering that the Rag and Famish has to go to the limit red mark 3 times. So
there they are on screen. Who's going to which mark, guys?
So you can see what mark they're going to on this lap. Some of them will change next lap. But as you can see, the Rag, the only boat going to the red mark on this lap. So, and they're going to the red mark every lap.
Like you say, Jimmy, it'll be a big advantage for the Smeg boys going to the closer mark and being able to just put some distance on the Rag with them going to the furthest mark.
Yeah, it's a massive advantage.
Yeah.
Because I think, what is it? They go blue, white, white, the Smeg. So
as mentioned, we've got the mark bot robotic marks for the top marks today. So they'll be able to be tweaked a little as the day goes on, as the race committee sees fit. At the moment it looks like we've got about probably 75 metres between each of the 3 marks. So that'll mean that the white mark rounders will have probably 150, 200 metres advantage over the Rag and Famish, which will be going around the limit mark. So Rag and Famish have just tacked back on the starboard and they're just having a little dig back, and it looks like they will cross the Smeg, which means they will be our new race leader until we get to these top marks. So good sailing from the Rag and Famish Peroni team. Once again, another long-standing sponsor in the 18-footer class. I wouldn't mind a Peroni sponsorship myself.
you're on the SWEP sponsorship at the moment, aren't you, Noel, with your health, unfortunately?
I am these days, Jimmy, but our little windsurfer team is called the Peroni Club for our love of Peronis, so good to see them out here supporting the 18-footers still. The Rag and Famish. Smeg look like they're getting up towards... They're going to have to put in another tack or 2. There's the Rag and Famish tacking, so they think they're close to laying the red mark.
Yeah, I've taken quite a big split, so it'll be interesting to see what pays here.
Yeah, we've seen the rest of the lead group at the top of the course here staying over on the eastern side towards Steel Point. Looks like they've managed to find a little bit more true northeast on that right-hand side.
Yeah, they're with a very good angle by Kobe on your screen at the moment, just sailing to windward of Finport. I think both these boats are going to the white mark, if I'm correct. So they'll be going to the middle mark this time and on a very high angle sailing to that top mark.
Yeah, so high on starboard, they are on that eastern side of the course, so a bit of true northeast. So at the moment what it looks like we're getting is a bit more northeast on the right-hand side of the course and a bit more north on the left-hand side of the course. And the place you probably don't want to be is in the middle.
No, so Rag and Famish is just coming back from that left-hand side, going to that red top mark, the only boat at the moment to go to the top mark, the red top mark, the furthest away. And yeah, it looks like they just had to push in, like you say, Dolly, to get far left into the left.
Yeah, looking for that northerly and maybe a little bit more pressure, but I'm not sure that worked out that well for them. So Smeg taking they're the first boat around any of the 3 marks. They'll be looking for a good hoist here to start scooting away and make the most of that advantage that they've got. 6 filing in behind them there. Our series sponsor.
And they go around that blue mark as well, 6. So.
Okay, so they're on the short mark. Looks like Lazarus might be going to that mark too, and they'll be the second boat to go around. Now, they sailed exceptionally well last week, the Lazarus boys, so handicap has been quite generous to them, giving them a white mark rounding, I would have thought. Third boat to go around will be Rag and Famish at the limit mark, and then 6th you've just seen go around the blue mark there. So by Kobe at the middle.
Have a few more boats rounding the white mark now, including Finport, who was looking a little bit better early on, but lost a little bit. We've just had Barrawang Hotel round the blue mark and followed by Yandu rounding the white mark. So sort of fleet a little bit split into at the moment. Top half just heading downwind for the first time.
Yeah, Yandu a little bit unlucky there. They just couldn't quite make the lay to that white mark and had to do a little double tack, and due to the gas they were getting off Finport, and that's given Finport, you'll see Finport come into shot there now. That gave Finport a little bit of an advantage, but they've done a bit of a shaky jibe in not much air there rather than carry on. He's going out into the middle, maybe looking for some more tidal influence.
Yeah, be interesting to see how they come back. Rag and Kobe not looking too bad pressure wise, but definitely going to have to do another jibe to get round the point potentially. Kobe's just gotten quite a big puff actually to bear away on, and like we said before, just deciding how far they want to get to that point depending on the lead.
Yeah, Kirk Mitchell really managed to put the bow down on a little puff there, and he's really reeling some distance out of the boats in front of them. Now Rag and Famish has got that gust as well. You can see 6th is just starting to pick it up with the orange spinnaker there. And that looks like a left-hand gust, so back on to Yandu, who's giving chase to Rag and Famish. One place behind Rag and Famish.
Yeah, the Rag actually looks like they're going to be able to make it here, just sailing quite a good BMG low mode to miss the point without having to do an extra jibe. I think that manoeuvre, doing 2 manoeuvres, is definitely quite costly.
Yeah, all these boats are going to have to jibe off the point here, or you just risk running out of air behind the headland. But like we were saying pre-race, judging the ley line into Rose Bay in these conditions is really, really tricky.
Yeah.
Simon Nern on the Barrawang Young Henrys.
He's sailing this year with his 16-year-old son Max, which is awesome.
Yeah,
Dan McDonald.
And last week they had a tough day, but they managed to get around the track. So full credit to Simon and Max. I was talking to Simon in the park today, and very proud to be sailing with his son.
Lazarus on screen at the moment, doing quite well and sitting in 2nd position behind Smeg. Seems like they're going to have quite a good angle actually in comparison to Smeg to get around Shark Island.
Yeah, so I was talking about the jibe angle to come into Rose Bay here, and it's looking from where we are now that Smeg has left it too late, and they're going to struggle to get over the island. Either that, or they might be having some oysters for lunch today.
Yeah.
Even Lazarus at the moment are on a little puff and are below the ley line. But it just depends what breeze you get as you come into the bay here. The closer you get to the southern end of the island, the breeze tends to drop a little bit, but you just never know when you're going to get that puff out of the left.
Yeah, seem to just shoot over, and as soon as they get it, the boys have to take it away as much as they possibly can. But it seems like Smeg might just be able to steer up a little bit, sail a bit of a hotter mode, and get the forward hand to strap the sheet on, hold it, and so that they can make it without having to drop the chute.
Yeah, at the moment they're actually looking good, but they're only one puff away from shore danger. So, but they're looking pretty good at the moment. So well done to the Smeg boys. Turns out they've picked that pretty well. Also the Lazarus are in pretty good shape. They're probably a bit above the ley line, but they're nice and safe. So they've done well. That's our first two. A little bit of breeze filling in from the left-hand side now. Might put Lazarus under a little bit of pressure, but I think
one's just hit Smeg now, Dole.
They're just getting a bit of a
low
lefty.
on the mark.
There's a peloton behind us.
Ooh, and Smeg were just off screen now. They've just had to rag the spinnaker to get over the mark, but they've successfully got over the mark.
And we've got the rest of the fleet following in behind in a good path. All of them pretty much with crews on the wire, so sailing quite well, and hopefully they're all able to make it around this YA mark.
Yeah, it looks like they've jibed early enough, but Smeg 6 has just got a big puff out of the left. They're getting carted away, and if they've got it, pretty much everyone behind them will get it as well, I would think.
Few flaps on the sheet from Burrowang, just trying to get up out of some dirty air. Yandu with crew in the water underneath the bad air of the rag. So positioning, I guess, coming in here, Dolly, is quite important. Fin port on top, you know, with clean air and coming through, and 6 out in front, just extending as well. So
the Vycobi team have done very well out of that exchange. So we saw them before mixing it up with the Rag and Famish, Yandu and Finport, and they've come out of it well ahead of those other boats. So, like I said earlier, you know, the Vycobi team sailing well. Hopefully they can keep it going today.
And behind them, 6 here. Whoa,
Plenty
just ragging the chute, trying to get above this mark. A few flaps, and hopefully a bear away and bring the chute back on to reaccelerate. Now not having to avoid that mark. But yeah, very hot coming in there.
And fraught with danger. Sometimes you can flip that lazy spinnaker sheet over the mark, and that never ends well. But well done. That's our newish team of Jacob Marks, Alex Marinelli and Maddie Doyle on the 6th.
And following them is Finport Finance, Burrowang and Rag and Famish, and then Yandu.
So yeah, as I say, a great, a big gain there from the Vycobi team. They've put probably 200 metres on the boats that were around them as we were up coming past Nielsen Park only minutes ago. So they've also picked a very good line going down to Clark Island. Balmain on screen there now. Henry Larkins.
And following them, the Kitchen Maker, sponsor of the day, with Lachlan Steele, Jerome Watts and Darcy McCracken. Following them, coming around the clearance mark is Noakes. Beck Hancock steering that boat.
And it looks like Beck's got some new sails on on board there. Looks like a new spinnaker and a new mainsail.
Got Cam Walker and Ian Wood on with Beck today.
Becca, world youth champion in the NACRA class a couple of years back. Great overhead shot there from our drone. Lovely work from Dylan, thank you.
Got 6 just in this lower lane and Burrowing Hotel to windward. Yandu and Finport following close behind.
Yeah, 6th and Finport just had a charter ferry go over the top of them and suck all their breeze away, which was fairly expensive for them, unfortunately. But part of sailing on Sydney Harbour is dealing with all the boats out here, being good or bad.
And as we come to the bottom mark now, teams start to decide what they want to do on the next leg and where they saw the best pressure coming downwind. So we've got Smeg rounding the bottom mark at the moment.
Yeah, I think
That's not the bottom mark.
I think Smeg has gone to the wrong mark.
Oh,
We've got 3 marks in close proximity to each other here. And at the moment, I think Lazarus is going to the correct one. Is that right, Jimmy?
Yeah, that is correct.
Yeah.
The orange inflatable.
and Lazarus just going to take the lead, unfortunately, from Smeg. Smeg coming in hot, though, behind on the reach in the power zone. Will just be following close behind.
So, yeah, we had Smeg accidentally go to what was our start mark. And we also had another mark in the vicinity that I think is from the...
In the background of that shot, Dole, you just seen Kobe making the same mistake going around the
start mark.
Yeah.
Maybe the starters are listening. We can maybe get that mark set bot just to go hide in the moorings, and 6 looks like they're going there too.
Might be a follow the leader through here and everyone rounding potentially the wrong mark.
Well, so far everyone who's gone to the wrong mark have managed to come to the correct one in the end.
Sort of just doubling up just in case, looks like.
We might help them out and we'll just stay here on this mark. So, yeah, they've got their eyes out of the boat. They'll see the camera boats at this mark.
6 dropping the chute going around the mark set bot. Oh, Burrowing Hotel looks like they've figured it out.
They've worked it out, yeah.
They're going to drop the chute and go around the right mark, and same with Yendu. They'll go around the correct mark as well, so they'll just shoot through in front of 6.
You'd hope Burrowang gets it right, because Simon is the Commodore of the club.
Finport going to sneak inside here. Try and get the inside lane on Burrowang.
Just the left of screen, Noakes just capsized on the jibe.
Noakes having a swim, unfortunately.
And I got news through that the 18-footers bar and restaurant capsized just off Steel Point.
Here we go, the bottom mark now, overhead shot of Balmain rounding inside of Rag and Famish, and 6 just going to squeeze above to windward of Rag and Famish here as well, try and get there. Oh, no, they're not going to make it.
Yeah, well, I think they were told they had no rights to go in there, which they didn't, and they wisely decided to opt out of there.
So these boats now just have forced to sail a bit of a faster mode, potentially looking to clear their air shortly.
So for any of our young sailors out there watching today, the lesson learned there is read your sailing instructions. Was that one of your jobs, Evie, as part of the team who was in charge of...
Look in the background of this shot when it comes out. The Royal Oak Four Pines has picked up another orange mark and just dragging it along for the day.
Little bit of carnage in one shot.
Oh dear.
Meanwhile,
Sorry, Dole, back to your question.
Kitchen Maker also sailing past the bottom mark here, just trying to get their chute away. So the other boat sailing upwind back towards Bradley's Head. See the breeze has gone slightly left here, and that good pressure coming down the harbour might mean that teams looked to do less manoeuvres this upwind.
Yeah, and with a bit of more distance between some of the boats, they might be able to just stretch out and go where they want to go rather than being forced to go where they don't want to go dictated by other boats taking their breeze, etc.
Yeah, so we have Noakes here dropping, Shore and Partners dropping their kite around the bottom mark. Royal Oak in the background just trying to disentangle themselves from that mark. They're not
Just
having
keeps
much luck.
following them.
Yeah, not having much luck, are they?
So Shore and Partners with the small rig on, as we mentioned earlier. That's been quite expensive for them, but they're obviously early in the season looking to be a little bit conservative and just make sure they get a result. We've just seen the Royal Oak disentangle themselves after repositioning another club's mark for them. Very kind of them.
Now we have a wave from Emma Rankin, who is sailing Shore and Partners with Rich Dobson and Pete Nicholson today.
She always has a smile on her face. It's one thing I've noticed with her.
Oh, that's fantastic. So Vykovi's just tacked away from the rest of the fleet, looking really good coming along on port tack. Just missing that lee underneath Bradley's head. We also have Smeg just tacking to windward of them now, seeing if they can get a little bit of that pressure coming around the point. But at the moment we have Lazarus in the lead. They're a bit further to the right of your screen in the middle of the harbour, sailing in some fantastic pressure. And Dolly, since the last work, we see maybe an increase up to 13, 14 knots.
I was going to say, we're a little bit of an increase in the breezes. Where we are at the moment, quite left-hand pressure, but we've just seen Lazarus getting out into the middle of the harbour along with Vykovi, and looks to me the further they stretch out into the middle, the more they get headed. So I suspect we're going to see them keep bouncing back into this western side now, getting some relief from the tide and looking for this left-hand shift, which seems to be fairly persistent, and at the moment has more pressure. So like I said earlier, I don't think you want to be in the middle today.
No, I think we see Lazarus now coming to a cross with clear crossing Smeg. So these two boats are quite far in front of the rest of the fleet, and they'll look to push into the new pressure lines.
Yeah, without that little navigational error, we would have seen Smeg still leading, but Lazarus, being the boat that picked the correct mark to go round first, have taken advantage of that. At the moment, the Lazarus is looking to me like they're stretching their legs nicely. We got the boat under really nice control.
Yeah.
Just shaping up for attack. See how they go. Oh, main's right off. That's not the way you do it.
The other thing I've just noticed on the harbour dollies, there is a ship coming in through the heads.
Well, that should make it interesting, Jimmy.
Very interesting. Well, skiffs can't go between the pilot vessel and that ship, and
that's right.
They have to keep certain distances off that ship, so that'll all come into play.
What are they doing working on a Sunday? How rude of them.
Lazarus is also going to the blue mark this time, so they will be sailing a shorter upwind course.
Where's Smeg off to? This one, maybe?
Smeg going to the white mark, so a little bit further.
Yeah.
So big advantage
to Lazarus.
Sorry, Lazarus going to the white mark this time on screen?
Oh, they are, yeah.
So both rounding the white mark.
Yeah.
It is very confusing, the mark rounding system, maybe.
But like I said before, to me, Lazarus look like they're... You can see them on screen there now. Very settled. They've just got that weather, windward wing slightly inclined, which is exactly where you want it to be. Very steady. You're not seeing the wing going up and down. They're just locked in. They've got the rig really nicely set up, it looks like. Yeah,
I'm agreeing with you there, Dolly. Again, it looks like Smeg sailing with a little bit more windward heel on average. great for when they need to be sailing maybe a little bit quicker, but not sure how it's working for them overall.
Yeah, we'll see this next cross. So Smeg at the moment, folks, you can see them there, still on starboard tack, heading to the western side of the harbour, which to me looks like it's where I'd like to go. They're just tacking out now. They're going to be hitting a lot of dirty water. We've just had a couple of big power boats go through. That's never a pleasant experience and often results in your spinnaker in the spinnaker bag getting filled with water and carrying kilos of water that you don't really need.
Far downstream, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very heavy set. Lazarus looking actually quite good here. Can't quite tell if it's from how they're sailing the boat or if it's from some better breeze on that side of the course.
And the rig on Lazarus is slightly bigger than the one on Smeg. Their sail area is...
Right.
Yeah, and the low boom, right, Jimmy?
Yep.
Yeah. So, yeah, you might be able to see that on screen. The low boom setup is something we've seen in recent years. So more power down low, more sail area. So the skiffs have a maximum mast height that they have to deal with, but they can jam as much sail area on that maximum height as they like. So by getting the boom down low, it makes the boat a little bit harder to sail. You've got to get under it. But they get an increase in sail area and get their centre of effort down lower in the boat.
Lazarus sailing into some good pressure at the moment, so it looks like they might extend on Smeg there.
Yeah, so that's a great shot. You can see the low boom set up there, used in conjunction with, I think they're Nick Daly's sails.
Yep, dark horse sails.
Yep.
We've got Tom Kunick steering this boat today with Josh Feldman and Jacob Broom.
And doing a great job. Tom looking really comfortable on the helm. Sailing really well.
Just panning back down to the rest of the fleet. By Kobe coming in third at the moment. And they're just tailing behind Lazarus and Smeg in this good left pressure.
There's Kirk Mitchell and the team on screen there now. Once again, they're looking really comfortable, really settled.
Drummoyne boys, they are.
They are Drummoyne boys. They're sailing the 16-footers a bit as well as the 18-footer.
That'd be your favourite team, Evie?
Oh, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, remember those boys sailing in the Cherub when I was in the Sabo?
Yeah. Down at the Palace.
At the Palace.
Yeah.
Lazarus just gone for attack off that western shore, and you know, having the ferry kindly cross nowhere near them.
Yeah, so staying out of dirty air from the ferry there. Once again, looking quite comfortable, and it's looking to me like we'll be able to get the majority of the fleet to these three top marks before the ship gets to them. So hopefully we won't see that ship having too much influence until maybe the next beat.
Now we've got Yandu, Burrowang and Smeg. Yandu in fourth position, and Rag and Famish going to the white mark, or the red mark, all three times?
Every lap,
Every
yeah.
lap, woof.
Which is going to make things tough for them. But you know, I'd expected them to be doing a little bit better in these conditions. And same with Yandu. They are hanging in there, mind you, but we've got to remember that each time they get to the top, they're getting the disadvantage of the longer course to deal with. So they'll make a gain and then have it all taken away from them again.
Yeah.
Character building, Dol.
Yeah, well, it makes you work for it, that's for sure.
Yep. Just looking up the course, that pilot vessel is really making a move down this way, so these guys are going to have to decide which side of the ship they want to play.
And the pilot vessel a long way in front of the ship, Jimmy. A long way in front of the ship.
Well, there is a lot of, like, there's not only us down here today, there's the B-14s, 420s, Flying Dutchmans, whatever else that Wallara have sailing today, all in this same sort of area, so their priority will probably get down here and shoo all the boats out of the way.
Yeah. He has just backed off a little bit, the pilot vessel. He was coming down going pretty quick. So just putting all these boats on notice, I think.
Got a good overhead shot here of Smeg. Still, I think, in second place, going along on Sydney Harbour.
So yeah, it looks like, okay, so your viewers can see the pilot vessel, the yellow and orange vessel in the middle of your screen there. So if any boats go between that pilot vessel and the ship, big trouble. Big trouble. Very serious fine involved with that. So the only boat that's getting close up there is the Vycobie, but they're underneath.
Burrowing's decided to take another stab out to the left. I think some bad timing for them. And the pilot boat has stopped actually there. I think just putting everyone on notice.
They have, but they'll be on the move again soon. They're just letting the ship catch up a little.
So we've got Vycobie, Rag and Famish following behind them. Not on screen is Yandu and Finport, just sneaking in front of that pilot boat. And Lazarus, our race leader at the moment for this Spring Championship, approaching the top mark for the second time.
So they've actually extended on the bulk of the fleet here, Lazarus, so they've sailed a very good beat.
Yeah, it definitely looks like that their boat speed and BMG sailing is much better than some of the others.
Yeah, no, they're sailing very well, very steady, controlled. It looks like this breeze condition has fallen right into where they're set up, where they're comfortable. They've read the shifts well. They're in some good pressure now.
And we've got Vycobie just in front of the ship coming through the harbour, and Finport just managing to cross the bow. On the other side of the ship is Burrowang, who decided to take another step out to the left.
Keegan just checking on the shipping movements. There, he might have another moth being delivered or something. Lazarus having to put in another tack to get into this top mark, and you can see Smeg there just approaching on port.
I think their manoeuvres are just a little bit costly. As much as they can stay in a straight line, they're good, but Smeg's just taken a little bit out of their lead. Potentially they're going to have to do another tack too, so be following each other into the mark.
That tends to be the problem when you speak to a lot of the guys, Evie, with that lower boom. It's like so much harder to get under and, you know, keep your stride going through from one wing to the other. You know, and particularly people that have just got that rig from Dark Horse where it's the lower boom, the amount of them that hit their head on the boom as they go through for the first couple of weeks is you see them all the next week with a little band-aid on their forehead.
Yeah. Bit like running the 100-metre sprint, but at 50 metres you've got to stop and do the limbo.
Yeah.
Lazarus on their final approach to the white mark. As you can see, they'll be rounding in a little bit of waves and definitely some more breeze than what we had last time.
Yeah, the breeze has picked up nicely to probably about 12, 13 knots at the moment.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of a wing dip there from the boys, but they've managed to save it. Lachlan just managed to save himself from a body drag there and get back on the wing. Next in we'll have the Smeg on approach. Nice set in the end there from the Lazarus. who had a brilliant downwind last time, so we'll see how they fare this time. This time we're on a straight windward leeward. We won't be going around the island.
Lazarus gone.
Man overboard.
Not on
with the
screen.
capsize. Sorry we missed that for you folks. But the boys on Lazarus are probably glad we missed it.
And the boys on Smeg are probably even happier that they're just able to take the lead back.
Just getting a note from Mark Seppbot that they've moved the white mark closer to the red by 20 metres.
Okay.
Just to extend that out.
Thank you for that information. That helps us out a lot. Vycobi with a late set because they have to get over. They didn't want to set and have Lazarus in their way. Bit of yelling and screaming between the Keegan and Harry.
And on screen you can see Smeg, our race leader, followed closely behind by Vycobi and Fimport with their kite up as well.
Young Henry's around the short mark.
And Yandu around the white mark as well. So they'll be setting just behind. And Lazarus still struggling. Here's Rag and Famish on screen doing their bear away and set. Jibe set.
Jibe set.
Very well executed. Hopefully they can get kite up nice and quickly. Yeah, straight down the harbour. So not needing
the hot
to
dog
go.
in the old days.
Yes.
So
Triangle
windward
sausage. Looks like there'll be quite a good angle and
good pressure.
Good pressure, yeah.
Yeah.
We might make our way down so we don't miss any of the action.
Yeah, so both Rag and Famish and Yandu have seen a bit of right-hand pressure and decided they'll jibe early, go down the middle, make the most of the tide and the breeze.
The Rag just looking with a little bit of a lower angle. Fixing something, looks like, just inside the boat. Yandu coming up to their line, and those boats that were sailing towards that headland have jibed off back towards the middle of the harbour.
Yeah, I'm still liking what I'm seeing from the Vycobi boys. Going well.
They also did a good job last time downwind too, so...
They did. Exceptional. Yeah, they were the big boat to make the biggest gains on the last downwind. But, we're looking at them now.
Here's the Rag on screen, and just behind them coming upwind was Noakes, just trying to catch up after a swim, but Rag and Famish heading downwind, and Yandu to the right of the screen, just pushing ahead of them.
There they are, both on the screen there now. You can see John Winning likes to, on this deep run down the middle, John Winning likes to sit on the wing rather than be on wire. A little bit different to how most people do it, but John likes to give that hip a bit of a rest, I think.
Understandable, but I mean, still sailing quite fast down here, and you know, not having another one on the wire unfortunately does mean that the top speed won't be as high, but the angle will be potentially slightly lower.
Yeah, they'll get a bit more depth.
And for the Lazarus fans, the Lazarus has risen back up, setting the chute and heading down. So probably about 3 or 4 minutes behind at the moment.
Smeg on screen at the moment, leading the race still with good pressure, and to windward of them Vycobi. Both boats heading across the harbour on a good path.
Yeah, looking good. A bit of separation between them, not as much as what it looks like on camera. Vycobi just getting a little bit of a roll and getting over the top, but they are separated by maybe 100 metres to windward, 75 metres to windward. But definitely getting a bit of a roll on the Vycobi.
Yeah, that gauge might not be enough for Vycobi to do anything on this drive, but potentially see if they can jibe early and force Meg underneath them a little bit more.
Yeah, they are. The ship that we saw before is still moving, but it's certainly slowed down in the Bradley's Head area. The boats are going to have to get across to the southern side of that ship for their final approach to the bottom mark. Just seeing Yandu jibing now.
And Rag jibing as well, just behind Yandu. And there's that ship that you mentioned, Dolly. Hopefully not going to be a problem for the boys as they will sneak behind to get to the bottom mark.
Yeah, it surprisingly worked out fairly well, which doesn't always happen on Sydney Harbour. The timing ended up being pretty good, that didn't cause anyone too much grief.
By Kobe going for a jibe, Smeg going at the same time.
Always good to see a Simo jibe done well by two boats. Both of them did well. Like sailing ballet.
Yandu just nipping at Burrowing Hotel's heels here. Might get to a point where they'll have to decide if they choose to go above or not. They keep this pace up.
Pretty good gain from the fin port too, so they've sailed a good run here. Bottom of screen.
Did they round, where did they round in the order?
They were on the middle mark, yeah.
They're on the middle mark behind Burrowing, were
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, so they've had a bit of a gain down this run. So there's the Finport Finance Green and Marine Solicitors on the screen there now. And there's, we can see Kobe has made a bit of a gain on the Smeg there. So much closer than they were a few minutes
on the
ago.
right of screen there, Dole, they had no choice. Yandu was just rolling them and they had to jibe out.
Yeah, had to put in an extra jibe, which is really going to hurt them.
Looks like Kobe's taking a piece out of Smeg on this run. Just pushing a little bit closer towards the race leaders.
Yeah, just pushing a little bit of a higher angle on the Kobe, just trying to sail it a little bit quicker. Obviously not want to get in their gas either, so they've decided to just try and get a little bit of gauge above them. So far that's working out well.
Also maybe getting a little bit softer under there, and potentially a better move for Kobe would sail a little bit deeper and see if they put a lamp on Smeg on the next drive.
Yeah, put a bit of hurt on them. They're going for a jibe now.
Smeg just trying to jibe clear of being in bad air from Kobe, but it seems like Kobe completed the drive just a little bit earlier. Smeg extending now.
Yeah, and we'll see how they go here. They should lay this bottom mark in one without having to jibe again, I think.
Yeah, let's hope they go to the right mark this time.
The mark set bot has been moved well away now.
Yeah.
So Smeg on lay for the bottom mark rounding. Coming in quite hot, so this will be rounding the bottom mark to go upwind for the final time.
See the forward hands ply their trade here. Nice work so far by both. Coming in cleanly, not in the water. They'll be away in time to round up and get round the mark. Kobe a little bit more in control for the mark rounding.
Be interesting to see if what Kobe chooses to do up this work. just gone to leeward to Smeg, sailing a bit of a faster mode to push into the left. But now we're looking at Finport Finance, who's rounding in third position. Pretty good rounding from Keegan and the team there.
Burrowing with a bit on in the background.
And inside of Burrowing, we will have Rag and Famish coming in hot, and Yandu.
All three putting their forward hands under a little bit of pressure there.
Yandu managing just to do a bit better of job than Burrowing, getting on the inside, getting the card away quicker, and sneaking a few places ahead. Rag and Famish coming around and going to sail a little bit of a lower mode to try and clear their air. And Balmain now dropping and rounding too. They caught up quite a lot down this
They've done quite well, yeah. Sailed a good run.
And 6 just coming into the shot now. They've also sailed quite a good downwind.
Yeah, for one of the newer teams, these 6 guys are sailing a good race today. Impressive.
Jacob Marks, 16 as well?
He has done some, yeah.
Oh no, he's 16 years old.
Oh, 16
or
is he
17.
that young?
Yeah, it's definitely still in high school. He's done some coaching for his sister Zara, so he's still in high school, definitely.
And he was sailing 29ers, I think, prior to this.
He's sailing 29ers and also in the 49er doing some sailing too. So great transfer of skills, as we were saying before, from the 9ers to the 18-foot skiff. And as you can see in that shot, the forward hand just trying to tuck the rest of the chute away while the other boys swing out on the wire. And Kitchen Maker and Royal Oak coming down. Kitchen Maker quite hot, just overlaid the bottom mark a little bit, so they'll have to carry it for as long as they can and then drop it to round the bottom mark.
Yeah, definitely have some work to do there.
In a way, it's sort of a good thing because you can sort of set your transits for the final run to the finish, because you sort of got to figure out where you got to jibe around Shark Island, how deep to take it in there.
Yeah.
It's not ideal how you want to work it out, but.
And here's Emma Rankin coming down, and Shaw and Partners following as well. And now looking back upwind, this is Finport on screen at the moment. He seems to be pushing out quite well into some more pressure. I'm not quite sure if he'll be race leader, but here's our old race leader, Lazarus, coming downwind.
They look very down
what a shame
speed,
for
don't
those
they?
guys, yeah. What a shame for those guys. Yeah, Keegan in Finport tacked out a bit earlier than the other boats, along with Yandu, whereas we've got Smeg and Vi Kobe right over on Bradley's Head. I think I'd rather be over on Bradley's Head myself, but Keegan might have sniffed something out in this middle part of the harbour. It looks like a little bit more left-hand pressure over at Bradley's Head to me.
Yeah, I think you're right there, Dolly. So, we're looking now at Noakes, back Hancock, coming down for her bottom mark rounding. Looks like Lazarus might have a breakage.
Yeah, big hole in their main. We're just hearing from the back of our boat. So the window looks like someone's fallen through the main on that. Just in the window there, just below the signage on. So they might be just heading home. By the looks of it, looks like there's no one really out on wing trying to pressure it up. But back here with the race.
Early shower.
Best part is they get meat pies in there after the race, so hopefully the pies are ready early.
Got Yandu taking another step out to the left. Behind them, the Burrowing Hotel, Rag and Famish and Balmain.
Really surprised that Rag and Famish aren't really making a dent on these guys that are around them. they're having a bit of trouble finding a lane to get through. Has been difficult. So every time they get on attack, someone lamps on top of them and takes their air. So they're finding it a little bit difficult.
The joys of being the scratch boat, Dolly,
Yeah.
as you know, you end up with a big target on your back, and everyone sees the number one boat coming, and they want to just lamp on it and see if they can, how they are with pace with them. It's generally the way it works.
Yeah.
It's like with the breeze a little bit more left here too, it's not quite giving the same effect on Bradley's. Just see Rag and Famish maybe in a little bit of light pressure as they come through the lee.
Yeah, but let's just watch here, because I wouldn't be surprised if John Winning puts a tack on top of him here, and he'll be in more gas again. The Yandu can't be far off tacking. They're getting in towards Bradley's head.
So they're going to push it as far as they can.
They are, yeah. Well, there is a ferry coming in too that's going to come into shot shortly. So I suspect Woody is trying to get on the western side of the ferry so he doesn't have to sail in its dirt.
Smeg looks like they're going to be quite a close cross with this ferry if they don't decide to go for another tack.
Yeah, I think they're trying to squeeze above it, so the ferry's going to split between Vycobie and Smeg. And I think that might be Phil Barnett looking
Captain
out.
Cup, it is indeed.
It is giving us a wave. So Captain Cup up on the Queenscliff ferry, just seeing how young Daniel's going on the Vycobie today. He'd be pretty happy to see him at the front of the fleet, I think. Once again, it's looking at them on screen, they're comfortable, really sailing nicely. Just moding the boat nicely through the gusts. Never looking too unsettled, but yeah, the I won't say surprise package from me today, but Nathan McNamara are doing a sensational job on the Smeg today. They are sailing the boat beautifully. They're just going to throw another tack just to put the squeeze on the Vycobie.
Yeah, just some covering there to protect his a little bit of a lead. So final work might see some more tactics for positions played out from these two top teams. Early race in the season, but make the most of it.
Claim it.
And are they both going to the same top mark?
I was about to check the same thing. We've got Vycobie on.
I think they're both going to white.
Both going to white, are they?
Like
There we go.
Cody and Smeg both going to white. So this is a real battle to the end here.
This could be really interesting, and Vycobie here has decided to sail a bit of a lower mode rather than tack off. They decided they like the left. They want to push further into the left rather than be under control of Smeg, forcing them to make a decision. So boys, like you say, Dolly, definitely locked in, and seems like they're sailing just a little bit better of a VMG than the Smeg. Smeg sailing just higher, slower overall.
Yeah, which they've been doing all day, but they've been making it work. So I've always been a fan of bow down and go fast, and then go for your height. But the Smeg is working the high mode, and it's working well for them. So
well, Finport is coming in quite hot behind Smeg, so they might have to readjust their moding a little bit, because Finport definitely catching up.
Has to go to the red mark this time.
So Finport having to go to the red mark this time, and the other two boats ahead going to white. So they do have some catching up to do and trying to see if they can strategically outsail the other two boats, knowing that they've got to sail a longer distance.
Still on the McNamara on the Smeg. He's the skipper on Dane's green.
on screen at the moment is Balmain, Henry Larkins and team, and I think they're also sailing to the white mark this time, and just crossing ahead of Burrowang Young Henrys, who've kept their position quite consistent throughout this race. They've decided to keep in this left pressure and see if they can capitalise on some of these puffs coming down.
Yeah, great sailing from the Burrowang Young Henrys today. Very consistent, not making too many mistakes, and their boat speed looks good. Little gain, another boat we've seen finally moving through a bit of that traffic as the Rag and Famish. A little bit of a gain in the last 4 minutes or so.
Well, they seem to do quite well in the middle of the harbour. Now that the tide is going out, probably pushing them, helping them getting to the top mark, and just using a little pressure line from righty to get to the left. It seems like they are sailing less manoeuvres.
And yeah, managed to get themselves out of the clutches of those boats around them and find a clear lane at last. They were having a lot of trouble getting out of the traffic.
Have put Yandu behind them. So Smeg to windward here of Vycobi. You can see here the difference of the modes that they're sailing, the higher angle of Smeg and a little bit of a lower, faster angle from Vycobi.
Yeah, Nathan McNamara, that's on the Smeg, also doubling up and new to the or newish to the 16-foot skiff fleet this year, and has been quite successful in the front end of the season.
Definitely been doing the most training out of anyone in the 16s, that's for sure, Dol.
Yeah, I've seen them out quite a bit.
We're just going to have Yandu enter the screen in a minute, just behind Rag and Famish. Yeah, Rag and Famish definitely looking a little bit overpowered, Dolly, so could be the reason for them not pushing forward as you thought they might have been.
Which they shouldn't really be in this breeze. They should be able to adjust that out and get that mainsail back under control. Just need to sort that moding out a little bit better. But certainly they've made a good step forward. But they're going to give a lot of that away at the top when they have to go around the red mark again.
Yeah, I think Yandu's going to follow them to the red mark this time as well.
So that'll be quite a disadvantage to both those boats. And for my money, I think the winner's going to come out of Vycobi or Smeg. And outsider maybe Finport Finance.
Finport, I think, has got to go the long way around as well.
Well, that'll rule them out too, I think.
So we've had a split here at the top end of the fleet. You can see Smeg on the left hand of the screen at the moment. They're pushing into Watson's Bay on the right hand side of the race course, whereas Vycobi has split over towards the left. Quite a fair bit more pressure, I'd say, on this left side, but not quite sure what the angle is going to look like coming back and how the distance has been.
Big call leaving your opposition like that, though, from both of them.
Especially up the last work.
Exactly.
Right?
I may have been guilty of just that myself yesterday. When they come back, we'll see. At the moment, it's looking to me like advantage to Vycobi on the left-hand side. But we'll see when we get across. And Finport certainly come back into the mix, but they have to go to the limit mark. There's the line up there now between Vycobi and Finport, and you'll see the Smeg on the far side of the harbour there now. Just a ferry splitting between the fleet.
And Vycobi looking like they'll just be able to cross in front of this cruising yacht as well. Yeah, Smeg just in the background of the picture now, so we're going to wait to see how this cross turns out with the top two boats splitting both to their respective sides.
Yeah, well, it's looking like advantage to Vycobi, but it's going to still be fairly close, I think. But once again, we're seeing that two different breezes on either side of the harbour. More northeast on the east side and a little bit more north on the left. So there we are with Smeg coming back in from the right-hand side on starboard tack. So they will have starboard advantage, but I think Vycobi is just going to have a slim advantage here as long provided they don't get a header. But I'm also not too sure that they're going to lay this mark in one. So going to be close. Smeg will cross Finport.
Looks like the Vycobi boys have all eyes on Smeg. Hopefully they keep one eye out for seeing how they can lay this mark ahead of them now that they are clear crossing in front. If they can make this with no extra tax, looks like they will have quite a significant lead.
Yeah, I think they are going to lay it. And it'll be now up to them to get a nice clean set, get the boat away and try and stretch their legs. Keegan.
So big risk from the Smeg boys there to take the right-hand side. And it's worked in Vycobi's favour as they round the mark in first place for the final downwind of the race 2.
Yeah, we did like that western side of the harbour, but surprisingly it wasn't a huge advantage. We've got Smeg around now. Let's see how their set goes. This was pretty critical that they get this kite up and drawing as quick as they can. Otherwise Vycobi's going to sneak away, and we've got Finport now rounding the limit mark. So very good lap there from the Finport team. And I wouldn't rule them out of this race yet. There's not that much separation and still a fair way to go.
Vycobi's just done the first drive, stepping back into the main harbour channel with quite good pressure, and looks like they're also down on angle there.
Yeah, they are looking good. If they can pick some good jibe angles into Rose Bay, they should
Get the pencils out and start writing the victory speech.
Yeah, something like that, Jimmy. But yeah, they were in the park. They were confident, but did say don't put money on us.
We've got Burrowing just rounding the blue mark, the shortest mark, and also followed by Balmain on the white mark, Rag and Famish and Yandu on the red mark. So Rag and Famish deciding to do their jibe set again, and Yandu following suit.
So it looks like the handicappers have done a pretty good job of working out who goes to which mark, because the fleet is reasonably close together, and that's the objective of this sort of handicap racing. Give you all an exciting finish. Balmain on screen there now.
Not on screen is Vykobi, who is well and truly into the main part of the channel and looking very, very good. They've actually just jived back onto starboard. Smeg jiving onto port, and huge difference in their lead at the moment.
Yeah, they've managed to stretch out nicely. Just having that little bit of an advantage at the top and getting the kite up and drawing, they put some distance on them very quickly. Looking at them there now, that's.
And we'll have Smeg just come on the left-hand side of the screen. They decided to push a little bit further into the point here, and Finport followed. Not sure that it's paid for them.
No, it doesn't look like as much pressure on this side, does it? And that kind of told the story of the beat too. There was more pressure over on the western side more than the east. And that seems to be playing out on the downwind, which it usually does. So we're looking at the Vykobi there now, stretching out nicely. They've picked an angle into Rose Bay, which is looking pretty good.
And yeah, Vykobi very quick on screen. We do have the Young Henrys burrowing, just going for a jibe off of Nielsen Park.
Nice jibe too.
Just over Blunt's Reef.
Yep.
Back on our race leaders as they extend their lead going downwind for the final time. And breeze certainly looking a little bit softer on this eastern side of the harbour.
Yeah, and that's hurt a few boats that came into that Nielsen Park side. Vykobi's chosen to put in another jibe. They've seen the light air that's coming out from under the Rose Bay shoreline. They've decided to just safely put in another jibe and try and get a bit more depth and get themselves closer to the island and into a little bit more pressure. We'll see how they judge this next one. They won't want to go too much further. And just as I say that, they do jibe. So they don't want to put too much pressure on themselves to lay that Rose Bay YA mark, the Shark Island YA mark.
That's right, they are going around Shark Island again, not going straight downwind. So
yeah.
Smeg to windward of Vykobi. Vykobi with an extension in front, but we'll see if they're able to sail a high enough mode to clear the YA marker.
Yeah, I think they'll be in a little bit better breeze down there, whereas Smeg could run out, get a bit soft, being higher on the course. They're trying to soak down to that line, so they've got skipper sitting in and 1.5 wires. You can see them there now on the Smeg.
Which isn't ideal.
No, it's slow, Jimmy, but it's probably faster than putting in an extra jibe when they don't want to.
Yeah, like you said last time, Dolly, it's a little bit of a lottery sometimes seeing which gusts make it over the land, and Smeg sort of with the safer option here, knowing that they did put in a lot of risk in the last upwind, so just giving themselves the option of being able to make the mark even if they do get pressure, because last time they were sailing quite hot, if you remember.
They were, yeah. They chose a pretty shallow angle, and as we say that, the Vykobi's just got the big left-hand gusts that we've been talking about, and they're now not laying the mark, and they're going to have to rag their spinnaker. You can see them now rolling that spinnaker.
Yeah, definitely needing to put as much weight out as possible and see if they can get the bow up here, because they do have quite a way to steer to get to this yellow mark.
Oh, they've really got a bit on here.
Not sure if they're going to make this. Be very good if they can.
They will get there, but they've made it a little hard on themselves. Now they need to get that spinnaker drawing quickly, and start
used to
scooting
tight
away.
lines sailing up at Drummoyne, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. So they've done very well there. It's definitely helped their lead, sailing fast basically all the way on that last little work in. And Smeg here, you know, we were just watching them sitting inside the boat, and now here we are fully stretched and with a big puff, making it a little bit tricky to round that clearance mark.
There they go now, they've just got around. So despite them being a little bit high, in the end, there's just a little bit more pressure as we get further down towards the totem pole.
And the rest of the fleet behind Viacobi and Smeg has caught up to Finport. So we've got Finport, Balmain, Slate, Rag, Burrawang all coming in to this Shark Island mark together with a big puff.
Yeah,
Coming in hot.
Finport with plenty on here to make it to this mark. They've had to do a little bit of a rag to get there as well, which has been advantage to Balmain there because they picked a slightly better lane and managed to take a bit of time. Then we've got the Rag and Famish after that and the Burrawang.
So the Rag was able to overtake Burrawang and extend from Yandu since the top mark, and Balmain sailing a very good downwind and last upwind to catch up a bit more to the top of the fleet. We've got Viacobi on the left-hand side of your screen in clear air with not many threats, sailing towards the finish line here, and it'll be a very good start to their season to be able to claim this win.
Well, they're not quite there yet, but they'll be very happy with that. The team from Viacobi. Hello to Pat, if you're watching. Always appreciate your support. We've got a few power boats with no idea what they're doing, getting in the way here.
Six just managing to get through the wash from some power boats.
He
Young
might as
Jacob
well
Marks.
head off to boatsales.com and list his boat, that bloke.
Lovely shot of the Viacobi there.
No drives going down here, so great left pressure and able to sail.
Like Viacobi might be struggling to get the height to the finish. At the moment, they look pretty pressed there. Swinging hard, main ease, trying to get some height. But they're nearly there. Should safely get it home. Full noise from the boys in these conditions. Should see them celebrating any moment now. There's the finish boat in shot.
There we go.
That's them across the line, you beauty.
And Smeg following in second place. They did have the lead at quite a few points in the race today. Quite a few moments they had the lead, and unfortunately took quite a big risk up that last upwind and said goodbye to that first place.
Yeah, as we were saying before, you know, splitting from your opposition like that can be a little bit dangerous, and they paid the price for that, unfortunately.
Balmain Slate coming in third. Very good catch up and overtaking Finport Finance to claim third place.
So 3 fairly young teams in the top 3 there, which is good to see.
Rag and Famish limit boat rounding the furthest top mark each time. So they're finishing 5th, which, I mean, quite a good score considering.
Yeah, the Rag have had a good last lap there. They made a few gains. great result today from Simon Nern and his team on the Burrowang. I think they'd be pretty happy. I think they're fifth,
Yep.
Fifth or sixth, are they?
Six, sorry.
Six, yep. Good result from them. They'll be happy with that.
And behind them, Yandu let a few places go, but they'll finish in 7th.
John winning with Fang Warren and Louis Brake. We'll see more of them this season at the front of the fleet, I'm sure.
And young Jacob Marks going to finish in 8th this week.
In 6th with Alex Marinelli and Matt Doyle on board. So once again, a newish team finding their legs, but getting a pretty good result there.
Is this our sponsor for the day?
I think it looks like the Kitchen Maker. Yep. The Kitchen Maker, Caesar Stone. Lockie Steele on the helm.
It's a new boat this season, I believe.
He's got Jerome Watts and Darcy McCracken on board this season. They're going to have to put in another jibe to get to this finish. Here they go. A nice jibe it was too. There they go, the Kitchen Maker over the line.
We've got Royal Oak coming down with the green kite, and behind them Marine Outlet. So they've done quite a good catch-up, actually. I haven't really seen them much this race, so...
I haven't seen much of them all day, I don't think. So.
The Marine Outlet, do you mean?
After their swim at the start.
And I think they're little rig too, aren't they? I think.
Looks pretty big to me.
Oh, it looks big. Okay, I thought they were one of the ones we identified in the park, but it looks like behind them we might have Noakes with the blue kite.
Shaw and Partners with the red kite.
Yeah, Royal Oak lost a lot of time when they were reconfiguring the course for the, I think, Royal Sydney or Sydney Amateurs or somewhere. They just decided to relay some marks for them.
They're actually going to be up with the top 5.
They were, yeah, I know, and that was very costly for them, unfortunately.
Well, on that, we might leave today with just watching the Royal Oak finish. Thank you very much for coming along, Evie. It's great to have you on board. Hopefully have you on board again later throughout the season, so looking forward to that. Dolly, thank you as always, mate.
No worries.
To the guys down the back, Piers. Stop it, guys. Dylan, Tom, Sammy, and then Chits, of course, on all the buttons behind us. So well done, team. And so we'll be back next week. Thanks very much for tuning in. This has been a Sail Media production for the 18-footers, Australian 18-footer League.
Got it out eventually.
Eventually.
Thanks for joining us. Afternoon, everyone.